Woodsaw Rituals. I am the Woodsaw. And this is Iron the Dragon. Behold his obvious dominance on everything. No one is safe. Well, folks, welcome to episode 5, Mother Truckers. Our human has been busy coloring in our latest illustration. Let's see what he's been up to, shall we?
All right. Hello, everybody. So I've got everything ready for me to color in the background for this. I'm going to start with the sun, and then I'll remove this tape right here, and I'll do the background, which I plan on doing a bluish color, kind of going into a yellow color next to this vibrant kind of almost violet type color that I'm going to use for the sun. It's going to be, I already mixed this color right here. So it'll be this with this. And I've got my kind of blue color here, which I don't want to open up on top of it. But right here, as you can see. All right, so I'll go ahead and zoom in on this part. Okay, now I'm gonna do the background. I'm gonna use this trusty plate or bowl to cover up the sun. Just cause I'm gonna get a little messy, I do believe. All right. So unfortunately, I've got this bad habit of not hitting the record button sometimes, which is pretty cool. So that's why we missed the first part of coloring in the Choya skeletons. But you didn't miss too much. just used this color that I mixed earlier of burnt umber and burnt sienna. I obviously watered down these acrylics quite a bit. I use acrylics like watercolors, essentially. I honestly don't even know why I started doing that. I just started doing it when I was a teenager and just kind of never looked back. I usually mix enough of each color to have some left over and use in my sketchbooks or whatever. And I store them in little containers to use later. Sometimes I'll save old Tylenol or ibuprofen bottles or whatever like that. And once they're empty, you can store your paints in those, your mixed paints in those. And it's pretty convenient. It's always worked for me. But anyways, so when you see me coloring in the holes in the Choya skeletons, I'm just making a second pass with the same color after it's dried a little bit. So it automatically just darkens those holes in. So all of this watered down acrylic work is essentially just the base layer of the color I want for each element in here. And then I'll be adding on to it with markers, color pencil, 3 different kinds of markers too. I probably shouldn't have chose to use such a bluish green color for the background sky since I'm coloring in these cacti with green. But with all the detail and highlights that I'm going to add in later, I think that it will turn out all right and you'll be able to distinguish the difference between the background sky and the cacti. I am aware it is definitely more of a bluish green than I'm using for this cacti too. It is not the same color, I swear, but it might as well be, I guess. It looks like it, but either way, it's gonna turn out okay. I am pretty excited about coloring in these cactus blooms. I chose to use the same color I used for the psychedelic sun just to balance things out a little and add a vibrant pop in this sea of green cacti. Some cacti are already blooming here in Arizona. We had like 2 days of spring and then it was just right into the beginning of the triple-digit temperatures that we see here in Phoenix. But it's always so nice to see the cactus blooms. For the pollen and the bees, I just used the same orangish yellow color I used for the background around the sun. I really do try to be conscious of distributing the colors throughout the piece so they help each other pop out at you. For the new growth here on this cholla, I used the same color as the blooms, but I added a little bit of a darker purple color to it, so it's just a kind of a darker variation of color for it, which is a pretty accurate color for what they look like in real life. And I'll use this color again throughout the piece, just like the other ones. For the skulls, I just took that mixture I used for the Choya skeletons and I really watered it down to make it way lighter, just to add a weathered color to these skulls. Now we start adding some base colors to our Roadrunner here. The blue in this band that he has behind his eye is the same blue that I use as the background color. And the orange is the same yellowish orange color that I put into a different container and just added some more orange to it to make it a little bit more vibrant. So I'm sure you've caught on by now, I'm really just maximizing every little bit I can out of every color that I have mixed for this piece this far. So if I need any sort of color variant, I just choose a color that I've already mixed for this piece and I just add to it, or add more water to take away, make it lighter. That way it just makes the whole piece feel a little bit more cohesive. I mean, the goal is to make these creatures look like they belong in this alternate reality environment, you know, like. So reusing all these colors, adding, taking away, dispersing of them like throughout the piece, just makes it a little bit more believable that they could exist in this alternate version of our reality. So I did some more research on our Roadrunner friend here, and I learned that Roadrunners are typically monogamous animals. They find a mate and they usually stay with them for the entirety of their lives. They work as a really good team together. They guard their territory year-round. The male has some pretty intense mating habits with some highly choreographed dances. The male will flick and bow his tail and wings, wagging his tail from side to side, jumping up in the air while making low, mournful cooing sounds. They also do something called nuptial feeding, where the male will attract the female by dangling some food in front of her, like a lizard or a mouse or a camel spider. And he'll dance around with this offering to her to try and attract her. Another interesting thing about the food offering is that he only gives the food to the female after the act has been completed, which is pretty hilarious. The couple collaborates on a nest, typically building it 2 to 12 feet above the ground in a dense bush, a tree, or a Choya cactus, like our staghorn Choya cactus. For our camel spider, I'm just laying down a base color of that same yellowish orange that I used for the background. This works really well for the skin tone. I don't know if I would call it skin tone for these guys. But, for his fangs, I used the same color that I used for the new growth on the Choya just to the left of him. And I'm just kind of blotching that around here and there to mix it in. For his back half, it is a bit darker than the yellow, so I just took that like lighter color of the choya skeleton and put that on top of the yellow base. And just making a second pass here over our skull buddies. All right, now that we have our base colors down, it's time to start phase 2, which is me using a 40% warm gray Prismacolor marker. I've been using Prismacolor markers for a very long time, and the 40% warm gray is my jam. I love using it for adding definition, adding shadows. It's just super useful for shading, in my opinion. And I use it on every part of this illustration. As you can see, like, I will go over just the ink lines themselves with kind of the finer tip, just to make small definitions in the cracks in the skulls, in the lines in the choya skeletons, just everything. And then obviously for shading, like little nooks and crannies, the holes in the choya skeletons, obviously, and the eye sockets in the skulls. It's just a really good tool for shading and adding definition. And now I've started using a different kind of marker, which is the Copic markers. I've just started recently using these and I really, really like them. They're an alcohol-based marker and they have a high quality, fast drying, non-toxic, transparent dye ink. And it's kind of my new favorite marker. So of course I wanted to use it on this illustration. And it's perfect for these cacti. And for this, the new growth on this cholla here, adding a little bit darker shading to the new growth here. And since I use the same color for the camel spider's fangs, I'm gonna add it to his fangs here too. Oh yeah, and I went over the camel spider real quick with a yellow Prismacolor marker just to give it a little bit, I don't know, more of a nasty feel to it, I guess. It looks a little nastier, but it was effective. Back to the Prismacolor marker. All right, and now we're on to our third kind of marker, which is the grabby markers. They are a acrylic paint marker that is water-based, non-toxic, and permanent once dry. I really like these markers as well. They're much more intense, so some of it is a little alarming at times, but I was able to, if I feel like I overdid any part of it, I was able to kind of tame it back. But it did great for these highlights and adding vibrance to the pollen and the bees, and obviously the highlights on the blooms. But I kind of consider this phase 3 because it is like, we're getting into the highlights now, and this is a really fun part of coloring these illustrations, just because it really starts to kind of transform, and it starts to look much different usually from what's inside my brain, which is fun to me. So it's a little nerve-wracking, but it's also fun, if that makes sense. I did some more research on our cholla cacti and prickly pear cacti and learned some pretty cool facts. They have some pretty significant medicinal properties. For the cholla cactus, they are very high in calcium, soluble fiber, and antioxidants. Traditionally, they have been used to help manage diabetes, reduce inflammation, treat urinary tract discomfort, and can act as a natural laxative. For the diabetes management part, the soluble fiber and complex carbohydrates in the cholla buds help regulate blood sugar levels, which is pretty crazy. It also promotes bone health. The cholla buds are so high in calcium, they often exceed the amount found in a glass of milk, helping in preventing osteoporosis. And the extracts that are made from the roots of the cholla have properties that can boost your immune system and reduce inflammation. Pretty freaking cool. And then for our prickly pear, when I searched for medicinal properties for the prickly pear, I found a lot of the similar things that the cholla helps with. The diabetes management, reduce inflammation, antioxidant. But the prickly pear can help with skin health, and it can also help with heart health because studies have found that it can lower the bad cholesterol in your body and raise your HDL, which is the good cholesterol in your body. It can also help with liver health. Modern studies have found it can help protect the liver from oxidative stress. Some pretty cool things that you just wouldn't expect to hear that some cactus can help with. And while I was rambling away about cactus, I neglected the fact that we were in phase 3, which is adding color pencil highlights to the illustration, which is yet again one of my favorite parts of it. I really, really like the effect that the color pencil has on top of watered down acrylics and marker. It just has a really nice soft feeling to it. Just look at how cute this little lizard guy is on the sternum here. It's got me thinking about my other lizard bro, Herman. How about we check in with him, see what he's up to?
It's Herman time.
I'm glad I'm not a cockroach for multiple reasons, but also because I don't want to be eaten alive by a lizard. Anyways, what phase are we on? Phase 3, I think. Yeah, we're adding highlights with the color pencil. And I am gonna warn you here, this is gonna get a little scary what I'm doing here. So roadrunners do have a lot of speckled white on their head and in various spots over their body, and their chest has mostly like shaggy white and brown feathers. So I'm going to add a lot of white to this, but it's going to look pretty sketchy at first, but I promise you it comes together. So just trust the process. I'm not sure if this counts as another phase, but I switched to another marker, and we're still doing highlights, so I guess we're still in phase 3. But this marker that I'm using is a Faber-Castell Pit Artist pen, 2.5 white. It's pretty thick, and I wanted to use it for his feathers here, and it gets the job done. I'm not sure if I would use it again on an illustration, but it worked. It ended up working pretty well for this one. I think it's worth saying that I really went out of my comfort zone on this illustration at several points. I'm definitely not used to using such bright colors, and this color combination in general is not something that I would usually choose. And this moment right now in this illustration was very uncomfortable for me, just because it really changed how the Roadrunner looked. But I knew that there was still another couple layers to go, so it's like one of those times where you really do have to remind yourself that you have to trust the process, and it's not done yet. And see, like right here, it's already looking a million times better because I started adding the light brown to the white, which is accurate to what the Roadrunners have on their breast, the chest area. They have that shaggy brown white. But when I first started laying down that thick white marker, I almost had a heart attack. but you know, that's just a part of it. And before I forget, I want to thank all of you who are still watching right now. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching the long video that this is. But I also wanted to let you all know that I'm going to start a new segment. It'll be focusing on my sketchbook work, and I am going to be posting it every Thursday. And this is supposed to be kind of like, it's supposed to fill in the blanks between the long illustration episodes that I have, because it really does take me a while to make these illustrations and then, you know, edit all the film, do the voiceover and all that stuff. It takes time. So I wanted to have some sort of middle ground where I can still put out content each week, but have it be a little bit less editing heavy. So it's going to be a sketchbook segment, and you know, you'll still get to see Herman and the Wolfman, but it'll be a little shorter and a little less editing involved. But you'll get to, I bought a sketchbook specifically for this, so you'll get to see me start a sketchbook and end it eventually. But yeah, so this is my solution to being inconsistent with when I post. I'll be posting every Thursday for these sketchbook episodes. And when I do post illustration episodes, I'll just keep that posting on Thursdays as well. So Thursdays will be the new day that I post. But I appreciate all of you that have continued to watch my videos and being patient with me. I know it's probably been a little frustrating because I have such long gaps in between my posts, but it is what it is, and I'm coming up with a solution, and I hope you guys will check out all those videos. All right, now we have hit phase 4. So after I do the base color, the shadows, the highlights, I go over everything one last time with micron pens. And I do like the kind of, I've always done the kind of comic book style thick black outline on major elements, and then I'll use like a 03 micron pen to just kind of get those little details back in there that we lost from coloring. And I just really like the effect that it gives when you go back over it with ink. So I've consistently done this, and I've been refining my skill set with this, and I think it's working out pretty good for this one. I know it seems a bit redundant, you know, because I do all of that inking that takes a while, and then I cover everything up with color and marker and ink and color pencil, and then I put more ink on top of it. But I don't know, if I didn't like the end result, I wouldn't do it. So I'm gonna do this, and I hope that you guys like it. Let me know what you think of this illustration. I know it's not done yet. It will be done at the end of this episode. Don't worry, there's not like another one. But let me know in the comments what you think of this illustration. I would really appreciate it, because like I said, I really did go outside of my comfort zone. Obviously it still has elements that I usually like to put in here, like obviously the skulls. It's dark, it's weird, but it's also very bright, and just, I don't know, like it's so much different from what I usually draw. But I guess that's a good thing, right? It's good to get out of your comfort zone, good to try new things, and I mean, how else are you going to grow as an artist? So that's the point of this. But yeah, welcome to phase 4. I did a little bit more research on our cactus bee friends here, and I found out a pretty cool fact about them. They are also known as chimney bees because they build chimneys at the entrance of their nests. They have these small turret-like chimneys that they build out of soil and nectar, often in hard-packed dirt. They abandon their old nest each year, creating new nests in different locations. But I'll put a picture up of these chimneys that they make. It was kind of hard to find a picture of them, surprisingly, especially like a good close-up one. But this one that I found is pretty cool. So check this out. Isn't that super interesting? What a neat little insect. And I did try to find some more facts about the camel spider that I haven't already mentioned in the previous video. And there was one thing that I found that I haven't mentioned yet. And apparently they can scream. They can make a hissing or buzzing sound through a process called stridulation, where they rub their jaws together and it makes this hissing and buzzing sound, which is pretty freaky as well, man. Those camel spiders are just some super strange creatures, which is why they were included in this illustration. But yeah, and I guess they have a really short lifespan. They typically only last about a year. But yeah, as far as facts go for them, I pretty much covered everything that I could find anyways. All right, everybody, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel and you liked this a lot and you want to continue to see videos of me making art, please give it a subscribe and give this video a like. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. And I hope you guys join me next time. Take care, everybody. Wolfman, take us home.
Alright, now we get to talk about metal. I've got just a few recommendations for you folks. First up, we have FOSSILIZATION with their new album, Advent Wounds. This is some nasty, pummeling, disgusting death metal, and I love it. You gotta check it out. Next up, we got the new Worm with Necropalace. Everyone in the underground metal world is pumped on this one for good reason. Do not sleep on it. And lastly, we have SAINTBREAKER with Unrelenting Violence. This is some grinding thrash death metal from Phoenix, Arizona. I saw them recently open up for a Zoom, and they tore the place apart. They were the opening band, and the pit was going apeshit. You have got to check these guys out live if you get a chance. That's it for me, folks. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like today's content. Goodbye.